All right, what is going on, everybody? Good evening. Good evening. Hopefully, everybody is having a nice Wednesday night. Recording this just before 10 p.m. here. This is just audio only. Not in a spot to be able to do video tonight. Got my equipment for audio, but don't have it for video. I'll be back in the studio tomorrow morning, so I'll be doing my show at 8 a.m. But of course, want to kind of drop my thoughts and do the best I can to educate everybody on the latest Lakers trade from Rob Pelinka in the front office. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. Breaking about, what was it? Probably within the last half hour or so. I wanted to make sure I had my notes properly done, had a couple topics that I want to get into, but we're going to spend some time talking about a big that the Lakers just got from the Charlotte Hornets. Let me tell everybody just the details of the trade. So here's what went down. The Los Angeles Lakers are trading Dalton Knecht, Cam Reddish. Pay attention to Cam Reddish. That might be an important one down the road. I'll keep you guys posted on that. Their 2031 unprotected first-round pick. That's the pick many people thought should be in Dallas. You got Luka Doncic. At least they should have got your 2 first-rounders. And then also a 2030 pick swap for Mark Williams. Mark Williams, part of the Charlotte Hornets, young kid, only 23 years old, played out of Duke in his 3rd year of his 4-year rookie contract. So we're going to talk all about him. But let me just first say this before we even get started. It's another trade for Rob Pelinka. So that's 3 trades now that Rob Pelinka has made. For all of us that, maybe we're, what's he going to do? And what's this Lakers roster? They're clearly not competing. Well, since all of that chatter has been going on over the last month and a half, here's what's happened with the Lakers, and here's what's happened specifically with Rob Pelinka. He traded D'Angelo Russell. I won't get into every detail of every trade, but let's just kind of go through the finer points of this. D'Angelo Russell for Dorian Finney-Smith. He's traded Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic. Of course, Max Christie part of that deal as well. A couple other guys came back with the Lakers. Lakers lose a first-rounder in that as well. And then the latest trade that he just made, like I just mentioned, Lakers are trading for a young 7'2" center. I'm going to read something here from Shams Charania, giving the franchise a starting center in Williams who fits the profile of athleticism and versatility that has flourished with Luka Doncic. Hornets land a rookie and Knecht they are excited about, and draft capital as well. So let's get into it. Let's kind of find all the angles in this one. I'm going to first kind of spend some time on what the Lakers are getting, and then I'm going to spend some time on what the Lakers are giving up. And then we could kind of look at, all right, where are the Lakers here the rest of the way? I thought yesterday when Pelinka was doing his presser, I thought he was kind of setting up everybody that, hey, there's a good chance we're not going to make a deal. That he knows that the Lakers need size. He knows that the Lakers need a center. They need a rebounder. They need a defensive presence. They need a lob threat. They need all of that. And, once you traded Anthony Davis, you were already pretty thin size-wise. Obviously we understand just how critical that position was for the Lakers. But I walked away from yesterday's presser saying to myself, I don't really know if Pelinka is going to make another move. Well, he made another move. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm watching Charlotte Hornets games every night. So, just a heads up on that. But I will tell you what they're getting back as far as, Mark Williams, what he does. And I think there's probably a lot of people right now that are basketball fans and aren't watching Charlotte Hornets basketball that are learning a lot more about Mark Williams. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about him. He's young. He's just 23 years old. He averages 16 points and 9.8 rebounds per game, 1.2 blocks per game, and a couple assists as well, about 2.5 assists. What is his game? If you go see his highlights, a lot of setting up from LaMelo Ball when he was in Charlotte, a lot of buckets around the basket, a lot of lobs being thrown his way, a lot of screen and rolls, cutting to the basket and getting some easy buckets. I'll tell you what Mark Williams is not. He's not a guy that anybody's going to run an offense through. You're not going to throw the ball to him at the post and say, hey, Mark, go to work. That's not going to be his game. So, something to obviously keep in mind there. Um, but when you start looking at, and this kind of takes me back to Sham's tweet here about it's the exact kind of profile that fits in what Luka Doncic is looking for. Remember, Luka. He didn't put LeBron in there. He put Luka, which I think is important. Let's be honest with where this Lakers team is. I think it's actually also beneficial for LeBron as well to have a player like Mark Williams, this style, and obviously to be playing with Luka. Stylistically, the Lakers are going to play completely different than how they were playing just 2 weeks ago. So we're all kind of trying to figure out what exactly this team is. But I think what this guy can bring to the table for the Lakers is give them just such important size that they don't have, and some of the characteristics that you see that Luka was playing with in Dallas. I'm not telling you it's perfect. I'm going to learn a lot more about Mark Williams as well as the season progresses. But I think they addressed something that was so important and so key. I think the other nice part about this as well is it puts Jackson Hayes back on the bench. So Jackson Hayes is still going to get opportunities. He's still a guy that I think is going to get minutes, and he's going to, have his moments. But I think his true position is coming off the bench, and you allow Mark Williams to come into that starting lineup. All right, now I got a couple 7-footers, and that's really what you were looking for. So, is it going to be perfect? Is it going to be a home run? I don't know. I was talking about this morning. All of a sudden, the Lakers look like a pretty damn good team. The last 3 teams they've played that were above 500 was, if you kind of put this all in order, the Boston Celtics, the New York Knicks, and then add the Clippers yesterday to that lineup as well. Teams that are above 500, Lakers convincingly have beat. They've won 9 of their last 11 games. They did a lot of that damage without Anthony Davis. So I'm still trying to figure out what the hell the Lakers are right now. I know they're playing great basketball. I know Vando's helped a ton. I know Dorian Finney-Smith has been fantastic. I know Gabe and Rui and some of these other guys are all of a sudden starting to hit jumpers. Reeves is having a career year. LeBron still looks incredible. And, oh, by the way, they haven't used Luka yet. We haven't seen him in a Lakers jersey yet, which it looks like it's going to be on Saturday. And on top of that, if I could just add another element to this, now you're getting a legit 7-footer who's 23 years old that's going to try to help you for this, obviously the remainder of this season. That's kind of the details of Mark Williams and how he's going to help the Lakers right out the gate, and it immediately just fits a need that the Lakers have kind of desperately, if I can say it that way. The other piece of this I really, really think to keep in mind is the 2-for-1. You traded 2 guys out to get 1 player back. Why is that important? Pelinka over the years has always tried to have a roster spot available for the buyout market. So I think what's going to be interesting now is there a player that is available that by the time the NBA trade deadline is done, that becomes available in the buyout market and looks at the Los Angeles Lakers and says, hey, I like what they're doing here. I could play with LeBron. I could potentially play with Luka. I could potentially play with Austin Reeves. It's the Lakers. Maybe getting the shine with a franchise like this can help me with my next contracts. Going to give me some exposure. I'm going to get some playoff games out of it. If there's a player that's available in the buyout market that none of us are even talking about right now and sees the Lakers as an attractive destination, they got a roster spot available. So pay attention to that because I think that's an important detail of whatever the Lakers end up doing. All right, let's talk about what the Lakers gave away. Damn, that kind of sucks to see Dalton Knecht go. I get it. I understand it. I'm not telling you that the Lakers shouldn't have made this deal, should not have made this deal. And frankly, I think there's a little bit right now where whatever Rob Pelinka does, you kind of just got to let him cook. If the guy just got you Luka Doncic, then you're certainly, I don't think you're going to make too many arguments of what he's doing right now. You're going to at least say, well, let me see this thing kind of play itself through. I was a huge fan of Dorian Finney-Smith, and I think you're starting to see how that man can be a real asset for this Lakers team and adds this certain toughness that they just didn't have. And now with him and Vando, that kind of adds a combination of toughness that they really needed. So I will tell you just right out the gate, it sounds like they gave up a lot for Mark Williams. It sounds like it on paper. The Dalton Knecht, who's a first rounder. So you can basically say the Lakers gave up 2 first rounders and this pick swap for Mark Williams. I don't know enough about him, but I do know this. He's putting up numbers. Those are solid numbers in the NBA. I do know that he's incredibly young as well, which is great that you can have this guy at least for another year, as in next year. And then if the Lakers like what they see, maybe they can extend him. He's on his rookie contract right now. The one thing I will say that is a concern, in his rookie year, he played 43 games. Last year, he played 19 games. This year, he's played about half of the season at 22 games. So I think that's the area that people have some concern on, is just his availability. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I think what the Lakers, on paper, if you told me right now, and Mark Williams is not the Miles Turner name that we were all talking about, the Nick Claxton name that we were talking about, other players that we're really, really familiar with. Steven Adams has been in the league for a long time. Kelly Olynyk, I kind of know what he is. Jakob Poeltl, it's not any of those names. So it's a different name. So I think it's easy to say, okay, you got this guy. He exactly is what you need, what you're looking for, that fits a good profile for Luka, for LeBron, of what they're going to need. But at the same time, you basically gave up 2 first rounders for him. If Rob Pelinka thinks that's the right thing to do, then in Pelinka we trust. We'll take our chances. If Pelinka thinks, yep, this is the guy that I'm giving up 2 first rounders for, then let's take our chances with that. Pelinka right now is walking on water for most Laker fans. Pelinka right now is also saying, this is the one thing, I had Trevor Lane on Monday. What's tonight? Wednesday? Trevor Lane on Monday. And we were talking a little bit about just kind of how we did not want to see the Lakers just sit back and not do anything. And I say that because, and I said everyone should be on the table. This is why I say, I didn't want to see him sit back. And I understood if he did. If he didn't do anything, then you know what? Thursday would have rolled around and Pelinka would have said, guys, there was no deal that I liked out there. I'm going to hold on to my assets. And I think every Laker fan would have said, all right, is what it is. You got Luka. But I also felt like he probably felt pressure to show Luka, I'm going to get you what you need. To show LeBron, hey, I know I traded away Anthony Davis and Max Christie. I understand that in the immediate future, this looks like it hurts us. But I got Luka in here. I got a 7-footer that I think is the right fit at the right age. They got younger. They got faster. There's a lot more, it seems like, with Vando there, with Dorian Finney-Smith. Guys kind of understand their role. They still got Rui, still got Gabe Vincent. There's a lot of depth still on this Lakers team. I think in a sense it is also Rob Pelinka sending a message to those 2 players and everybody else on that roster. I'm not trying to waste this season. It doesn't mean the Lakers are going to be, the favorites to come out of the Western Conference. What the Lakers are trying to accomplish this year, let's be a headache in the playoffs. And oh, by the way, we got one of the greatest players to ever play the game that's still playing at an elite level. And we got a top 3 player in Luka Doncic and some other role players that all understand their role. Let's see what they can do with it. And I think that's what Pelinka, I would say, has accomplished up to this point in these last couple of days and every move that he's made so far in the NBA trade deadline. So it's very, very difficult for me. I might look at a deal on paper and say, did Pelinka give up too much? You know what? It doesn't matter. If Pelinka thinks that's what the Lakers should be doing, then that's what the Lakers should be doing. And we're gonna find out. It won't be today or tomorrow. We'll find out down the road if this was smart or if it wasn't smart. I'm going to miss Knecht. Knecht had something going early in that season that was just incredibly special. Dalton Knecht was a player for the Lakers that kind of took everybody by storm. I thought, I mentioned it. I was doing the postgame show yesterday. I mentioned it that it felt like he's starting to get back into a rhythm again, comfortable with his jump shot. I hope he's got a lot of success in the NBA. I like him. I like his style. But, when Pelinka said, I'm going to have 3 first-rounders this summer to work with, he ended up using all 3 first-rounders. He drafted Dalton Knecht and traded him. He traded 2031 as part of this Mark Williams deal, and then he traded obviously 2029 as part of the Luka deal. So technically, however he got there, Pelinka was a man of his word about using the draft picks, being aggressive, understanding that the Lakers franchise, what a draft pick is to them, is not the same or equivalent to what it is for another team. They're not in rebuild mode. They're in, hey, let's try to make some shit happen right now. And that's exactly what Rob Pelinka did. So, obviously, those are my initial thoughts here. I think there's a lot that we can take away from this. I think there's a lot of curiosity about this Lakers team, but there's nobody right now that's listening to this pod, and including myself, that really truly knows what this Lakers team is. We haven't seen Luka play one game as a Laker. They got a new center coming in. The dynamic, the style, everything has changed with the Lakers in the blink of an eye. AD's not here anymore. Max Christie is gone. There's so much still to be figured out with this team, and I don't think any of us know what they are. But it's exciting. I think it's very exciting for the Lakers because they have started a new chapter that started on Saturday night when they made that deal with the Dallas Mavericks, a new chapter of Lakers basketball. But at the same time, they're still trying to compete. And, the last thing I'll mention here, and I mentioned a little bit earlier, Cam Reddish was a little bit further on the depth chart. Lakers really weren't using him. I don't think that was going to change because of Vando, because of guys like Dorian Finney-Smith, Gabe Vincent they were using. I don't think that was going to change. The 2-for-1 is important here because it does open up another roster spot that can potentially garner the Lakers some value in the buyout market. So we'll see what happens on that front. I will say this, I put out on Twitter, and I just kind of asked the question. I was asking Laker fans, hey, what do you think of the move? I'm going to read a couple of these here. And this is just so people can have it. Tomorrow I'll get a chance when I'm doing the show live. We'll get more reaction and everything else. But let me get a little bit of what people are saying here. Laker Beatmaker says, might really regret trading Dalton, but Mark is too good a fit for right now. Hopefully he stays healthy and can play 65 plus games per season. I'm still a little worried about our defense with Braun and Luka sharing the court. That's a lot of pointing and not closing out. I will tell you this. Dorian Finney-Smith's going to be in a lot of these games, probably in a lot of these closeout games as well. So there's one defender right there. They're going to have to be very strategic with how they use some of these guys here and what that balance is on offense and defense. Because I get it. I mean, imagine a backcourt with Luka and Austin Reeves and LeBron in at the same time. How are you going to get defensive stops? So they're just going to have to collectively as a team be really, really good. Keeping it 100 on Twitter. It's a strong move. You give up a nice young piece, but you get a young 7-footer who's playing well. He is the size we need and balances out the roster. Pelinka has provided a team capable of winning a championship. Now it's a matter of chemistry, which can take some time. Goes on to say, LBJ is a phenomenal leader. He has every reason to play 2 to 4 more years. He has title shots here. All right, let's get another one here. Lakers had to overpay after the Luka trade because the league is full of haters, but this is Rob saying we're going for it this year. What the fans wanted. Now it's on J.J. Braun and Luka to lead us. Another one here. I like it, Slee. I'm not sure with the addition of Luka how much real run Dalton Knecht was going to get. Also with Vando back, somebody's got to play defense. I love it if Williams stays healthy. Athletic double-double guy dropped 38 against Memphis recently. Another one here. Big risk, but needed to get a guy that at least had a slight chance to match up with the top centers in the West. And the last one here I'm going to read. Never in a million years did I think Mark Williams would be available. I mean, good God. Yeah, listen. I don't know what this is going to do to the Lakers, chances of winning the West. But I'll tell you this. Without a guy like this, I don't think you have a shot of really making noise. You got to have bigs. You got to have defenders. You got to have size. And Pelinka was able to address that. All right, great stuff here. Another, obviously interesting move for the Lakers, and it continues to be just a phenomenal time right now in really just the NBA. Brandon Ingram's with the Toronto Raptors. Jimmy Butler's going to the Golden State Warriors. Jonas Valanciunas we saw go to the Sacramento Kings. We saw De'Aaron Fox in his first game tonight with the San Antonio Spurs. Luka's going to make his debut most likely on Saturday. It's just the NBA is I forgot the Super Bowl's coming up on Sunday. Completely forgot about it, to be honest with you. Okay, that's all we got tonight. Just a couple quick reminders here. If you could please subscribe to the channel, would greatly appreciate that. Also, now I did start memberships here on the YouTube show, and it's just a great way to support the channel. So if you guys want to be a member, it's $2.99 a month. I would obviously anything that I'm able to get from that department, I'm just going to keep putting everything back into the channel, guys. I love what I'm doing here. I love the growth of the channel, and I feel like you guys like it, so it really adds fuel for me. If you want to be an MVP member, $2.99 a month, great way to support the channel. I will eventually have exclusive content for members, special emojis that you guys will be able to use, so something to keep in mind there. Thank you for being a part of the show. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Looking forward to talk NBA trade deadline, and also looking forward to talking to Brad Townsend, who covers the Dallas Mavericks for the Dallas Times, Dallas News Times, I think it is. He's going to come on. He's going to tell us all about Luka, what makes him so special, what he thinks he's going to be with the Lakers. I can't wait to have that conversation with him, and we're going to get as in-depth of coverage about Luka as you're probably going to get with him. Thank you for being a part of the show tonight. Hope you guys have a good rest of your night, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.